Whoops. Hello, hello, my friends. Welcome to my super surprise mystery meetup AMA. This is Dr. David talking at you from Zoom to YouTube with my little fancy background. If YouTube would actually let me do virtual backgrounds, I would not have to use Zoom all the time, but hey, that's just the way it is. So, Creative Raven, hello to you too. Good to see you. Welcome to my little surprise mystery get together. I don't know how long I'm going to be on because the kids are downstairs doing homework. We'll see how long that actually lasts. There's Paul Bothwell checking in. Hey, Paul, how you doing? All right. Well, while you got me, how's everybody doing? What do you got to be? I'm curious. Where are you checking in from? And thought for the day. What have you got to be grateful for today? Is the clothes on your back? The fuel in your tank? What's good in your life right now? Just, we always talk about, we're always talking about problems and how to fix things and how to make things better. But how often do we actually stop and think about all the good things that we already have? See, our neurology kind of plays tricks with us because it's always focused on the negative stuff. Remember, one negative thing has a gravity of 4, and one positive thing has a gravity of 1. So we're always kind of focusing on what's wrong with us, or what's wrong with our life, or what we're not getting enough of, or we're always focused on what we're not getting. And sometimes we need to just stop and be grateful for the air in our lungs, or the opportunities that we do have instead of the ones that we don't have. I had experiences recently where I was really forced to kind of confront what would happen if it all went away. Like let me adjust my screen here a little bit. And so maybe I'm a little sensitive right now to that idea, but I think it's something that we need to understand the power of gratitude and of perspective, because perspective allows us to feel gratitude about more things, and the more gratitude that we feel, the more healing our body and our minds can do. Gratitude is one of the most powerful emotions energetically, as well as psychologically, that we can play with. And so it's it seems like such a simple thing, but I don't know. Have you guys ever heard me talk about my what was it called? My success book. Have you guys ever heard me talk about that? Some of you have, some of you haven't. If you have, type it in the chat. If you haven't, I'll tell you about it, and I'll tell you why I think that it's important and relevant to today. Let's see here. Okay, so just quick shout outs to Ivy Bolts. We got Creative Raven. She was one of the first ones on. Stephen Wright from England. Laura Thompson, KW. Anybody else joining us? State your name, where you're checking in from, and what do you have to be grateful for today? Right? No, I'm not going to get all so sappy and soapy on you, but I think it's important to learn that each of your organs. I don't know. You guys know I have a background in Chinese medicine. Each of your organs has a constellation of energy associations or emotional associations with it. So if you're studying any kind of oriental medicine, you know that joy, and we're talking about pathological emotions. Pathological joy or mania damages the heart. Grief and sadness, loss, damages the lungs. Worry, pensiveness, anxiety, overthinking affects the spleen and the pancreas. And then liver, frustration, anger, rage. Rage is more heart, but it's kind of somewhere in the middle there. And of course, kidneys, the emotion of the kidneys, in a pathological sense, is fear. And people talk a lot about these negative emotions in Chinese medicine, right? But they almost never talk to you about the other emotions, the ones that actually heal the body, rather than are manifestations of something pathologically wrong. And so one of the emotions that we all have to deal with in some point is the emotion of loss or grief or sorrow. And what you'll see many times clinically is people who have suffered and repressed a lot of grief or a lot of sadness will often manifest with different kinds of lung problems. And so people with COPD, emphysema, allergies, did I say asthma? I don't remember if I said asthma. When you start to unpack these things, you often find grief, locked down, buried, stuffed down grief is at the root of these lung manifestations. And what the Taoists and the ancient Chinese medical practitioners of old discovered was that not only do these organs have pathological expressions, but they also have virtues. And there's a system known as Confucian virtue healing, and the Taoists have their own version. And one of the emotions that we want to focus on if we want to heal the body is gratitude. Gratitude is the highest level of the emotional energies connected to the lung. And so if you're suffering from lung problems, if you have low energy, if you've suffered a lot of grief, one of the best things that you can do is to create a gratitude list. Stupid, simple things that you're just grateful for. Like, for example, that your eyes actually opened the next morning, right? That your heart didn't stop in the middle of the night. Stupid, simple things that you actually have water from a tap, whether you drink it or not, that you can drink if you need to, right? And one of the things that happens is when you do this, it starts putting things in perspective, if that makes any kind of sense, because we lose perspective. There's so many things we take for granted, and you don't get a brief reset until you almost lose it, or you do lose it, right? So lesson for today, make a gratitude list. So I teased you guys a little bit with what I call my success book. Many, many years ago, when I was just a wee lad, I would listen to my parents and my grandparents. They would always say, when I get old and I retire, I'm going to move to Florida. And I was like, and I'd hear all these cool things about how cool Florida was, right? And after a while of hearing this, I'd be like, why are you waiting? If Florida's so much better than here, why don't you just go? And so when I turned 18, I started making plans. By the time I was 20, I was on a train to Florida. And I'd like to say that it was all peaches and cream. It was not. I had $300 in my wallet and 3 boxes of stuff. Hey guys, quick shout out. I'll interrupt the story real quick. Quick shout out to some of the people joining us. We've got Crafty Child from Gettysburg, Lissy Pearl, of course, Creative Ravens there. James Harkins, good to see you, brother. Hydran Schwartz, welcome, and greetings to Berlin. Charisma Dowdy, welcome from Phoenix, and Will Dog, hi everyone. All right, so when I got to Florida, John Few said, hey, when I was a wee boy. That's right, love. So one of the things that, I didn't go to college until very late in my life. And so I got to Florida, and the first thing I did was get a job selling shoes. I was the original Al Bundy, right? And I knew I knew from my earlier training in door-to-door sales and stuff like that, that I needed to keep my attitude positive. I needed to find ways to build up my own sense of self-worth and self-esteem. And I got this download one night, right at this time. $10 was a lot to me back then. Okay, I had to walk to work for the first 3 or 4 or 5 months of my life till I could save up enough money to get a car that leaked more transmission fluid than it actually held on to. But one of the things I realized is that I had a lot of obstacles to overcome when I was living there, both financially, logistically, emotionally. And so I needed to find a way to build myself up. And so I got this little stupid loose leaf notebook. It was like those little spiral binders with like 50 pages in it. And I took a ballpoint pen and I wrote on it, my success book. And what I did was I went back into my memory as far as I could and tried to remember and write down every good thing I'd ever done, every success I'd ever had. And every night I would come home from work, or if I had a friend or whatever, I would come home and I would either read what I had written the previous days, or I would write more stuff, what I was successful with that day. And it was only the things that I was good at, only the things that I did that were successful for me. And I did that religiously for 2 or 3 months. And within, and from that point on, I can't attribute it directly, but I know it changed me, because it balanced out the negativity that I was being exposed to on a consistent basis. Remember, negativity has a charge of 4. Good things have a charge of 1. So if you have one shitty thing happen to you, you need 4 good things to balance that out just to reach 0. So the My Success Book concept, low budget, low tech as it was, fed my mind. It fed my sense of self-worth and self-esteem. And what's interesting is the more things I wrote, the more things I remembered from other times earlier in my life that I was happy about, that I was grateful for. And that kind of feeds into our lesson about gratitude today and how you can use that, right? And so one of the things I want you guys to do is in your way. You might be a tech person who, likes to play with Notepad and stuff like that. Or you might like to handwrite things, right? Start a book. Start a little gratitude journal or a success book. And just every day, just sit down for a few minutes and write stuff that you're good at, that you've done well, that you've been rewarded for, that how you've helped people, or write things down that you're grateful for, simply because it's going to heal you and it's going to change your perspective about your life. And once you start to change perspectives about how you view the world you live in, opportunities you'll become aware of opportunities and motivation and inspiration that was hidden behind that other viewpoint. So I just want to put that out there. And now we'll get back to what you guys really want to know about, which is questions. What questions do you have? So we got one from Brick T here. She says, hey, David, really need some advice to decode or demystify whatever the author of Initiation into Hermetics is saying, and key points to look out for while reading the book. First and foremost, Brick, what you want to do is you want to read that book from cover to cover without trying to do any of it at least 3 times, okay? And then you want to take the exercises that he gives you, especially the condensing breathing and where you're condensing the energy into your bones and into your organs and out. You want to really overlearn that. That's the big piece, because what you got to do is you have to merge your consciousness with your breath, right? In the Chinese medical Qigong system that I'm getting my doctorate in right now, they say, and you've heard me say this too, but they say it this way: if you can't feel it, you can't heal it. Okay. What I say is, if you can point to where you feel it, you can change it. It's the same idea. You have to be able to become aware of the different parts of your physical, energetic, and spiritual anatomy before you can work with it, right? Part of that is merging your consciousness with your breath. Another part of that is engaging your imagination in such a way that everything synergizes together. And those exercises at the very beginning of Barden's book, where he talks about the exercises for the spirit, the exercises for the energy body, and the exercises for the physical body, these are absolutely fundamental, critical exercises. You can't learn them too much, right? This has been a truism from every system of hermetics or hermetics-based energy work, mysticism, alchemy that I've studied. You've got to be able to link these 3 things together and move them in your body so that you can move energy in and out. You can move energy from where it needs to be to where it isn't, and all that other stuff. So take it slow. And the only thing I will tell you is you don't need to be as fascist about the training as Barden is in the manual. In the manual, he comes across as very metallic. In other words, it's very taskmasterish. And that could be because of his Eastern European upbringing. It could be just how it was translated from the German. Here's the key piece that he doesn't teach you in that book. You have to have fun when you're doing this, right? You have to have joy and compassion and really feel good about it, okay? So you want to play with these things. So the secret to playing with it is to take the numbers that he gives you, the level of repetitions that he wants you to do, and break it down to like 1 minute increments. You know, work from 30 seconds to a minute with each of the exercises and make it fun, and only work for the period for with which it's fun. Now, at some point, you're going to have to transition from motivation to discipline, but not at the beginning, not when you're still trying to learn the technique. Once you've learned the technique, now you can go for discipline where you keep going and you keep going and you keep going. But if you're not satisfying that fun factor first of all, you're embracing the wrong energy, because every energetic frequency or level of consciousness that you're going to interact with is going to have a feeling connected to it. And so you have to have that feeling, right? So you have to really get the imagination going as well. But again, the more positive and upbeat and playful your state, the easier these things are to do. Let's see here. I mean, I have to put up my window a little bit more. Creative Raven says, agreed, opening of resources. That's why I'm here. Excellent. Butte Ween says, wow, I just practiced gratefulness and felt the channel open up. Boom, way to go. Get Smart Quick says, nice shirt, Mr. David. You look like a certified pimp, man. I love your stuff. Well, thank you. Thank you very much. I did suffer a bit of a loss today, though. My famous necklace that I wear all the time has gone missing. So I'm hoping it will manifest and turn up within the next 24 hours or so. Something will happen, as we say in Planet David. But thank you for the shirt compliment. I'm very picky about my shirts. So let's see here. Crafty Child says, thank you. Rishav Silal says, I'm now using echo technique unconsciously now, but I'm unable to use other people's trance words to them. Any suggestions? You're unable to use other people's trance words with them. Okay, you're going to need to elaborate on what you're trying to get them to do and what the context is in which you're trying to use their personal trance words. Okay. Remember, when you're asking, when we're playing the AMA game, the more precise and well thought out the question, the better the answer I can give you. If the question's too vague, too general, or missing pertinent information, I'm going to ask you to restate the question. Okay. Creative Raven says, if I have an important task that keeps disappearing from my internals, how do I reconnect to the task, feel safe to complete it, and stay connected to the positive outcome? Oh, okay. A couple things. First of all, point to where you feel it, reach out and touch it, use the magic frame technique to figure out why your neurology keeps hiding this from you. Okay, it has a reason for it. The moment you find that reason and you clarify what that reason is, you preserve that lesson, you let the rest go. That's the first part, the part that's hiding you or trying to protect you from whatever this task is going to do. The second thing is, what's important about this task for you personally? What's the emotional payoff or lifestyle payoff that you're going to have once you've done it? See, a lot of times what happens is people focus on the task they have to do rather than what it's going to do for them once they've completed it. And that changes you from external locus of attention to internal locus of, external locus of control to an internal locus of control, which is almost always pleasure-based. Okay. So one of the things that happens when we start to lose our motivation, we start, oh God, I gotta do this again. What's happened is you focused on the task rather than the goal. Getting back to the goal and repeating to yourself what's important about that to you and what it's going to do for you and what it's going to be like to have it is going to fire you back up again and get you right back in the game. That's the short course, right? So if this were a CPI class or a Hidden Laws of Attraction class, I would say use your emotional motivation checklist after you've magic framed your reasons for not wanting to do it. Then top it off with resistance removal formula, which you've seen me teach on several of the webinars here on the YouTube channel. So that's the go-to. Okay, hopefully that helps. Chris Harding. Hey, David, amazing to be here. Curious about image cycling, especially based on you speaking of the results. What specifically would you like to know, Chris, regarding image cycling? I could talk forever about image cycling. Most of my students who have been using the image cycling process that we teach can talk for hours about what image cycling has been doing for them. So the more specific the question, the better an answer I can give you. Paul says, I want to know how we go through, hold on a second, it just jumped. I want to know how we go through your 6 levels of energy healing. My 6 levels of energy healing? I don't know what that means. What 6 levels of energy healing are we talking about, Paul? Ween says, facts, don't practice while in a bad mood or a low vibration. Absolutely. Remember, if you look at the CPI model, and again, I've taught the CPI model on every webinar I've taught for the past 3 or 4 years. I've taught it in I've taught it in various AMAs here and there. Remember, know what you want, control your state, get rapport, use your language. If you remember that sequence, it's always about your state first. All the advanced magic and energy stuff that I teach is actually higher levels of state control. Once you understand that state control is truly the foundation of everything, and rapport is the key to accessing all of the things you need to get, then you're 80% of the way where you need to go. It's true enough to be true, but the only way that you'll actually discover that for yourself is if you actually do the drills that we teach, right? Whether they're the free stuff we give away here on the channel, which is head and shoulders above what you'll probably find in most other places. But when you get behind closed doors with us and we kind of pull back the curtain and show you the whole system, then you're like, holy shit, Batman. Ask anybody who's been in the mega retreats or the Costa Rica retreats or the mega platinum or unlimited influence trainings that we're doing. We're showing stuff that just pure science fiction from most people's perspectives, but it's doable, it's trainable, it's something every single one of you can do if you have access to the teachings. You just got to get access to the teachings, and the only person who can decide when you're worthy of that is you. Right? I'm happy to share with you the things that improve your lives, but if you want the whole systems, then you got to decide what you need to do and who you need to be to get there. Right? I've always told, you heard me say lots of times, you can be or do or have anything in this life that you want to be or have or do, but first you have to become the person who deserves to have it. And sometimes that means getting enough different jobs. Sometimes that means moving your residence. Sometimes that means spending and investing time, energy, money, and education in a direction that may not seem like the most linear path to what you want, but because of society's hoops and requirements and things like that, you got to do it. I certainly wanted to become an energy healer and a Qigong doctor, but I didn't want to go through the 5, 7, 8 years of schooling it required me to get there. But at some point you realize there are some things that you just have to do, instead of trying to find workarounds all the time. Sometimes the shortest path is the easiest path is the hard path. You just got to go straight for it. You got to do whatever it takes to get there. And that's what comes back to when I talk about the most important state to cultivate for yourself is relentless determination, right? If you have relentless determination, everything else falls into place. Without that, it doesn't matter how positive you are. It doesn't matter how confident you may seem. If you don't have that relentless determination to keep moving forward, no matter what, you're gonna stop at the first obstacle or person who says no to you. Believe me, the world is here to say no to you. My job is to teach you how to get it to say yes, right? But the first person you have to say yes to is you, right? Let's see, healing sounds, vibrations, and frequencies is question. Is it good astral hygiene when changing self to also spend equal time charging your energy down to stay balanced? Okay, I think what you're asking here is when you're charging your astral body, is it a good practice to actually take that energy and discharge it to get the practice for doing that and balance your energies versus just walking around fully charged? And I'm gonna say the answer to that for me is a qualified yes. Most people believe that more energy is better. I'm here to tell you from firsthand experience and a lifetime of believing that bullshit that more energy is not the answer. Not for most people, right? In fact, if you really get behind closed doors with a lot of these high-level masters of the mystic arts, if I can use that term without infringing copyright, 80% of your training is purging, clearing, getting rid of your shit, both energetically, emotionally, behaviorally, belief-wise, all the things that get in your way, you have to start transforming. It's alchemy, right? And a lot of that involves purging. And if it doesn't involve direct purging, it involves transmutation of one energy frequency to another. 80% of the work that I have seen in the Kabbalah, in the Buddhist and esoteric systems like Buddhism, Taoism, even in the Christian mysticism, from the hesychasts and those fields, it's all clearing and purging, right? So going back to what I gave, the advice I gave on Barden's work, learning how to build that energy up, learning how to take it out, moving it around, that's one of the key skills, right? Because again, you as a mystic, as someone who wants to learn these things, you have to enhance and expand your awareness and your perception. But the ironic part is that when you came into this world, you had all of these spiritual gifts, your clairvoyance, clairaudience, psychometry. You had the ability to do all these things. They were socialized out of you. They were traumatized out of you. And what I mean by that is, as you started to build up these stories of who you are and what the world is like and the belief systems that you were indoctrinated into, it started to cover the apertures that allow you to tap into and use these extra faculties. And you've heard me say from time to time that enlightenment in my world isn't a process of learning something new. It's actually a process of removing the filters that are keeping you from experiencing what's already here, right? And so this is going back to this question is where I think you're going. And if I'm wrong, please, feel free to correct me. The ability to move your energy up, move your energy down, and every other way you can transmute or transform energy is a core skill. And it's something that's worth learning, right? Certainly there are times when you want to charge up and to use that energy, but there's also times where you need to know how to store it, or if you can't safely store it, how to vent it, right? So yeah. Hope that answers the question. Rishav Sowal, main problem that I'm facing is I study stuffs, but cannot use it in the field at the moment. It just doesn't come to my head at the right moment. How do I deal with this? Chunk everything down, right? If you remember the echo technique, and if you remember the master echo formula, ask a question, validate the response, echo their words, ask again. Right? If you just go out into the field on any given day and just do that one thing, focus on nothing else but that. Don't try to get anywhere grandiose. Just get comfortable with that and eliciting the desired responses at a very superficial interaction that's not important, right? A lot of us, they take these, they crash in, they have this Volkswagen Bug and they metaphorically crash into a wall, right? And they keep hitting that wall until the Volkswagen Rabbit or the VW doesn't function anymore. So they go, they work, they save up their money, they go get a brand new Lamborghini and take another crack at the wall, right? That's not how it works, right? If you want to be successful with this and you're not having the success that you want, you need to identify several key factors. A, what is it you actually want to achieve? Okay, what are the smaller steps that you need that go into that overall goal? Right? Do you know how you'll recognize if you're getting what you want? Are you moving towards your goal or away from it? Right? In my first course that I created back in 2004, 2005, there was a whole chapter in the book called The Secret to Making Any System of Pickup or Seduction Work 10 times out of 10. And it was very simple. It was all about sensory acuity. It was all about awareness. It was the simple ability to be able to tell if what you're doing is having the desired effect on the target, right? And it doesn't matter what system you're playing with. It could be some of the old school pool methods. It could be the Gunwich method. It could be the mystery method. It could be speed seduction. It could be the real world. It doesn't matter what system, right? Even the modern ones like Shogun and all these other systems of pickup and attraction. And I'm using those as a metaphor or as a teaching example. It's really true about any form of influence. If you don't have the ability to determine through your senses if what you're doing is having the desired effect or not, you're focusing on the wrong piece. So that's a big, big factor, because every human being that you interact with is going to tell you in no uncertain terms exactly what to say, what to do, and how to do it in order to influence them. The difference is they won't necessarily be telling you directly or with their words. Sometimes it'll be with a gesture. Sometimes it'll be with pupil dilation. Sometimes it'll be an unconscious head nod. Sometimes it'll be a tonal shift or a volume shift, or the speed at which they speak will give you an indication of what words are more important than others. Okay? Your ability to take in all that sensory information and extrapolate what it means and then test it is going to be the single biggest factor to getting any of this stuff to work. The other piece is to chunk it down to small, manageable micro steps. This is the thing that most people don't want to do, because they want to get in that Lamborghini and smashing into the wall. Well, chances are, if you're just getting behind the Lamborghini for the first time, that's where you're going to end up, is in a wall, because you can't handle that kind of juice, right? So break it down into smaller, manageable chunks. And as you overlearn and master and are consistently getting the results you want, add the next piece, right? And play, have fun with it. If you're not having fun, you're doing something wrong. So make your training fun, okay? Let's see here. Will Dog, your thoughts, hold it, mold it to the bold it. It's yours for, all right, not sure where that came from. Rick T says, what about demon possessions? Are they real? I think so. I think a lot of them are not demons, for sure. Certainly there are other types of spiritual entities that can possess a person, but also a lot of times they're the thought form, the thing that's possessing a person. And in the mystical systems, it's actually not called direct possession, it's called overshadowing. Other types of spirits can actually have a significant influence on people because they're actually aspects of the energy that person created. And so if you experience a certain type of emotion over a long enough period of time, if you harbor certain energies or certain intentions of people, they take on a pseudo sentience of their own, and they can actually go rogue and start to feed off you because you created it, so they can have access to your energy anytime they want it. So there's a lot of ways that overshadowing or possession can happen, but it's almost always because the person themselves created a doorway for that to manifest. Right? So the short answer is yes, I believe it. The more comprehensive answer is it's not just demons that can possess people. Let's see here. Get Smart Quick says, I'll banks from the necklace so it returns to you, Mr. Snyder. Well, thank you. That's very kind, Get Smart. Lucy says, I know you mentioned about kidney regarding the Chinese medicine. What does it say regarding people who have two kidneys? Mine was, who don't have two kidneys. Mine was removed when I was 6 years old from the right-hand side. Okay, great question. Great. Here's the great answer. The physical kidney isn't there, but the energetic kidney still is. So this goes back to some of if you understand what thought forms are, you can create an energy ball that represents the kidney that's missing, right? And you can create an energetic kidney, and you can place it in your energy body where the physical kidney was. And that can actually start to balance out your kidneys or give you more kidney energy. The suck part is you have to do it every day or until your kidney grows back, one of the two. That's how it's explained to me, right? But yeah, one of my teachers who was a Qigong doctor, when he would see patients who were missing a spleen, right? They had their spleen removed. They said, just create an energetic component and put it in the color corresponding to that missing limb or organ, and that'll actually help to balance out the loss of the physical organ over time. So play with that. Renee says, no vest, not today. I got to be honest with you. I know that everybody, I'm kind of getting away from the vests. I know people love it, and I think they're still cool, but I've been doing it for a long time. What do you think? Should I keep the vest or should I transition into something else? Type it in the chat what you think. I'm going to continue answering questions. Martin Communications. 1 second. I jumped out of my way here. Hold on a second. I'm sorry if I'm staring off into space. I was about to read a question and then the chat box jumped on me, so I'm trying to find it. Is image cycling the Bankston method? Image cycling, I learned image cycling while studying the Bankston method. I took what I learned from Bill and added things to it to amplify and enhance the effects of the image cycling. So what I teach is image cycling. I am certified in the Bankston system, but I do not teach the Bankston energy healing method, because the only people I know who are certified to teach Bankston are Bernadette Doran and Bill Bankston himself. So I will teach image cycling. I will teach a lot of the things that Bill teaches in his energy healing classes, along with all the other things. But I do not certify people in Bankston. And some people were saying that I certify people in Bankston, or saying that I certified them in Bankston. It's not the case. I learned about the image cycling process from Bill, and have tremendous respect for everything Bill is doing. He is doing some hardcore scientific research into this non-local phenomenon. He's having amazing results, and especially for people who don't believe in this shit. So let's see here. I may have to, for some reason that's, there was a question I was about to read and then it's gone, and I have no idea where it went. So I apologize. Last question I answered, talked about the vest. Okay, Get Smart Quick says, weird question. How did you create such a lovely community? Because I keep coming back with my problems. Will my problems be solved? Like, how you create such a, you know what? I don't know. All I can say is that I teach from the heart, and because the universe gave me a lot of experiences early in my life, experiences that a lot of people in our tribe have experienced as well, and I managed to find the solutions and the answers. I think it's largely because of that, but I think it's also because we understand that it's about empowerment, and you have to empower yourself first. But on the internet especially, it's easy to be an expert. It's easy to be a guru and say, if you just buy my stuff, all your problems will go away. I found that it's better to prove you can actually do something before you ask somebody to invest. And so people have problems to solve, and so they come to our channel because we can help them. We have solutions, and it costs them nothing but a few moments of elbow grease and maybe watching a few videos to grab a hold of a technique or a piece of knowledge and use it to transform your life. And I think also that all the people in Planet David, and again, I'm getting kind of sentimental and maybe a little bit metaphysical here. I think all the people who find their way here have known each other before. You all resonate with a certain vibe, a certain energy, and you feel the pull, and it draws you to us. And if it's a match, you stay. If it's not, you find something else that's a fit for you. I've said it over and over again that the people in Planet David, and I'm not referring directly to all of you, as well as everybody at different levels of our programs, are the finest people I've ever met. They're the most open, they're the most sharing, they're the most passionate about helping themselves and each other. And it doesn't really matter how you got here. You all found our channel because there was something you needed a solution for. And in the search for that solution, we found you. And you got what you needed. And the moment you fixed it, there was something else you wanted, and you found it. And you kept finding it. So I think it's just, you follow, I think all of you, Planet David is part of your golden path. You've heard me talk about those things. So, that's just a few random thoughts as to why our tribe is so cool. But I guess I just want to be real with you guys. I've spent most of my life working very hard to eliminate the possibility of being deluded. or of being wrong about things. And so I test, usually on me. And then if it works and it gives a consistent result, then I share it. And then other people go out and they confirm or not what I teach. And that's how it should be, I think. I think every one of us needs to test everything that they encounter and not just take it at face value or believe in it because it's old, right? Or it's the newest thing. If something resonates with you, test it. If it works, keep it. If it doesn't, find something else, right? Everything works for somebody, but nothing works for everybody. And be very wary of people who say it works for everybody, right? I think we have one of the highest success rates of all the techniques out there in our fields, but it doesn't work for everybody, and every now and then I'm reminded of that. Let's see here. So I hope that answers the question. I look like the Tiger King's younger brother with that shirt. Thanks, I think. Lioness of Gaia, snazzy shirt, Dr. David, good to see you live. It's good to be live. It's been a while. Been a minute, as they're saying now. Creative Raven says, thank you so much. Okay, David, a spin technique used to work really well for me when I was high vibe and happy a few years ago. Since I've been low energy and depressed, it's like it doesn't work for me at all. Why? Because you have a lot of gravity. What you need to do is you need to do a few gray rooms. You need to change your posture, change your breathing. Remember times when it did work. Magic frame the thing that's keeping you from doing the spin and keeping you at a low vibration. And then start spinning shit like it's going out of style, right? You have to summon up some willpower for this, right? You may have to repeat a few times. But one of the things I see a lot of times is that when our energy is really low, it's like inertia. Our neurology doesn't want to move because of the gravity. We have to force it to move. It doesn't matter what your conscious mind believes. Once you start getting your body engaged, it's only a matter of repetitions before things start to change. I learned that the hard way many, many years ago. You don't have to believe it. You don't even have to want to do it. But the minute you start getting that body engaged, after the first 2 or 3 spin cycles, things are going to start to shift. You're going to start to get a little bit more energetic. You're going to start a little more momentum going, and shit will start to come out, right? Remember, when you spin stuff, sometimes you have to purge it. You have to let it come out. If you spin something, you've stimulated the body to start resolving it and creating an alchemical transformation. That's why people get hot and break out in sweats all the time. But if you try to fight it, you try to analyze, you try to stuff it down instead of just letting it come out, that holds you down, right? So just some quick thoughts on that. My relation place says, awesome surprise. So glad I logged on. I'm glad you did too. Martin Communication says, look up Joe Exotic. Okay. Brick T says, hey, David, how would you define enlightenment in any quick and safe way to awaken cosmic or Kundalini energy? Is the feeling bliss, or are there any real world practical benefits? Okay, well, that's a compound question. So first and foremost, I actually defined enlightenment earlier in this AMA by saying it's a process of removing the filters that are keeping you from perceiving the things that are already here. That's the big piece for enlightenment. The next thing is there a quick and easy way to awaken cosmic or Kundalini energy? No. And let me elaborate on that. There are quick ways. They're not safe. Okay. There are safe ways. They're not quick. Right. There are ways that are more direct, more structured, have a successful, a high number of success rates among their practitioners. And then there are people who go to a Qigong class one day and all of a sudden, boom, their Kundalini awakens and they're in hell for the next 6 years because that shit's going all over the place, right? The big question, and this goes to the last statement you made, is there any real world practical benefit to it? That depends on how you define practical and what you want to do with it. A lot of people want to awaken their Kundalini energy. My first question is why? What's that going to do for you? What do you think it will do for you? Right? We all want to have superpowers. Well, superpowers have to be earned, but you don't earn them the way you think. I said earlier, and I said this multiple times throughout this podcast, if you want to call it that, is that everything we do is a process of removing the filters. When you incarnated into this physical form, you brought in all these gifts with you. You had the potential for all of these things. They were active in your spiritual the spiritual place that you came from. They got covered up, they got blocked. Earning them means you have to do the work of clearing them, the things that are blocking you, and awakening those potentials in you. And every spiritual system has a methodology for doing that if you can get access to those teachings, but none of them are fast. I think our technologies here on Planet David, of all the things I've seen, are faster, but they're definitely not, they're not going to turn you into the next Buddha in 6 months. Well, maybe. No, I don't know. Anything's possible, but but the biggest challenge we have is just clearing our shit, right? So when you ask yourself, you want to awaken your Kundalini energy to do what? What are you going to do with it? The energy is designed to be used for something, some part of your spiritual mission, your spiritual journey here. It's designed. That's what you came here for, to learn shit and to help shit. Shit being a technical term, right? So I hope that answers your question. So Rishad is asking, suppose that they're using the word excite again and again. That means excite is their trans word, right? And how do I use the trans word to excite that person? You think about time, you look at the metaphors that they're giving you, the stories they're giving you, you find an analog story in your life and you use their words to tell your story. And you pay attention to their pupil dilation and their nonverbal cues every time you use that word. And you should see a response. You should see a dilation of the pupils. You should see an unconscious head nod. You should see them paying more attention to you, just because of using that word, right? Will Dog is saying the fundamentals: control your mind and state. Roland Escamerosa. What to do if you determine that weight gain is caused by childhood trauma? What technique would you use to alleviate it? Start with magic frame. Then use color breathing and then spin it. If that's not getting you the traction you need, then regress to cause. Renee Matthews, how do I take control of my dreams? Been having nightmares that I am lost in a new town quite a lot lately. I would start with magic frame, Renee. I would ask your unconscious mind what this dream is trying to teach you, what it's trying to share with you, right? And see what that's about. It's interesting, Renee, that you are asking about controlling dreams, because that's actually in our mystical studies right now. Most of me and my students are actually studying dream magic, which is a whole secret teaching behind it. But it starts with questioning your unconscious mind as to what the dream means. What does it mean to you? Okay. And then just apply, there's a reason you're having this dream. There's a feeling connected to that reason. Where in your body does the feeling connected to that dream or to that reason live? Magic frame it, spin it, color breathe it, and see what happens. If that doesn't work, go to holonomic regression levels 3 and 4 and 5, and see if that gives you any kind of traction. Let's see here. Oki, how can I speak to you directly and privately about sexual trauma and reactions? I was using your techniques. I'm confused if they were real or not, and hope to speak with you in detail. Right now, Oki, I'm not seeing clients directly. I'm referring people to my high-level students, my advanced students, for session work. If you feel like you could benefit from a session with one of my trained associates, then I'm happy to help you get in contact with them. All you have to do is call Stephanie at 858-282-4663 and let her know you want to book a session with one of our associates, and she'll recommend you to the person that she feels is going to be the best fit for you. You'll have a consultation with that person. If there's a connection, if there's a resonance, and you feel like you can work with them, then we'll invite you to become a client. If it's not, we'll refer you to another associate until you find someone that you really feel comfortable with. If none of our people resonate with you, then we'll recommend other practitioners from other systems that might help you with that. But right now, with my training schedule and everything going on, I don't have time to see personal clients beyond my mega platinum and unlimited influence clients. Let's see here. Paul, you talked about you have 6 levels of energy healing in your system when we were in Costa Rica, like level 1, 2, 3. I don't remember talking about 6 levels of energy in Costa Rica. You can, I don't know that I would call them levels. I have lots of stuff. I have lots and lots of stuff. But to put them into an organized level, I don't really have that. Well, I do, but not like what you're implying. I have lots of systems that I teach, and I decided what I'm going to teach based on who's in front of me, largely. So it's a lot about spiritual maturity and what you're wanting to do with the energies that you're learning to cultivate. Rick T, how do we fully take advantage of the placebo effect, or is it some other sense we can't fully control yet? The placebo effect is simply the use of the mind. Belief, suggestion, direction, all of these things can create a very powerful transformational effect that's purely at the spiritual mental level. So anything that engages your imagination, that engages or modifies your belief systems, can and will activate the placebo effect. Okay. Hydron Schwartz, any advice if one normally can feel gratitude and get happy with it, but suddenly the knowledge of gratitude is there, but the feeling is gone? It's fight against sadness. Just keep on doing gratitude. One of my colleagues used to say, when faced with a loss, which is what I think you're implying, he used to say, be grateful that it happened, not sad that it's gone. So in other words, focus on the fact that even though what you were grateful for, what you had is now gone, be grateful for the fact that you got to have it at all. Right. And again, if you start playing with reframes, especially the 14 reframe patterns that we teach in Renegade Reframing, you can always find a new perspective to look at a situation and find something you can be grateful for. Okay. But if you're having a lot of time dislodging the grief or the sadness, then magic frame it and color breathe it. Spin it, see what happens. If that clears up the energy blockage and allows you to process out the rest of the emotions. Has this been useful? Are you guys getting good stuff out of this? Let's see here. So Chris is asking what image cycling is the best ways to apply it and the best understanding of it, pardon me, from your deep understanding, and to start applying it immediately. I could go further, let me know. Okay. Image cycling is a process of creating certain intentions, things that you want to manifest. And they're usually it's best served if they're things you selfishly want. You list those, you create a symbol for each of those things that you want to manifest. And then you spend a few moments really meditating on it and feeling the joy of having it and what it'll be like to have it. And then you cycle through the list faster and faster and faster until you can no longer consciously track the list, but you know it's spinning or cycling. That's in a nutshell how you do in a cycle. And I haven't found much that it's not good for. In fact, a lot of our practitioners, especially now that they're doing the internal cultivation stuff that we're doing for Mega Platinum and the Buddhist mysticism training and things like that, their image cycling is actually starting to work faster and faster and faster. Probably the best example is our guy Bernie. I call him a resident shaman. He was probably one of the best image cyclers that we've trained. And then he went and studied with Bill. And then we started teaching him a process called Pulling Down the Heavens, 3 Divine Invocations. It really connects all the different levels. And his image, the power that when he charges cotton was like, it was like flipping a switch. I put it on my back because I re-injured an old injury as I was teaching martial arts. And I literally put the shit on my back, and within 30 seconds or 90 seconds, the 80% of the pain was gone. He'd given me cotton before, and it helped, but it wasn't that fast. So as you get better and better and better at the image cycling, depending on other things you do, it just gets more powerful. And we've seen that consistently with our practitioners, both in terms of, like, when one of our guys, Nico, he has to stop actually image cycling because his image cycling is so powerful. His life starts exploding because he's starting to manifest high level things. And there's certain things that have to be disrupted in his current life that he's not ready to give up yet. And so he starts to manifest things, start to really accelerate. And then he has to kind of stop and let things settle out and then start again. So everybody's going to kind of come to that work a little bit differently. Some will just take small graduated steps. Some will take quantum leaps. Some will have to, they come in with so much energy when they hit this technique, it just exponentiates, and they have to actually throttle it back a little bit. So everybody's going to be different, but there's not a lot that image cycling isn't good for, right? I use it for I personally use it for skill acquisition and development and knowledge gathering, which is different than what a lot of other people use it for. So Tim Grover is relentless. I don't know what that means. Okay. Brick T, can you zap people with electricity using chi like I've seen Oriental practitioners doing videos? It's the same healing energy from what I was told. I'm going to say no. I'm going to say no. Do I know how it's done? Yes. Am I teaching people how to do it? Yes. Am I going to teach it to the general public? No. But I know how it's done. I know how it's trained. I haven't gotten to the level of proficiency with it yet that I feel is ready for public demonstration or anything like that at all. So I don't know that I'll ever show stuff like that. That's kind of freaky, right? But there are all kinds of manifestations and effects that you can get without shooting an actual lightning bolt across the room at somebody. So the short answer is yes and no. I know how it's done. I know how it's trained. I have not reached the level of proficiency where I can do that consistently yet. Okay, David, energy healing techniques seem to work better for me when I'm fasting for a few days. I feel more sensitive. Do you recommend this? I think fasting is a very, very personal choice. Fasting certainly can have very profound effects on your energy as well as your ability to channel and be sensitive to energy. Just do it intelligently, right? I'm not a big fan of fasting, but a lot of my students are. So hold on a second, my daughter's singing. You sing not so loud, so my students aren't distracted. Yes. My daughter apologizes for singing too loudly. Anyway, see here, get smart quick. Yeah, Mr. David's vibrational influence course can help. Powerful. James Harkin says, know thyself. Bingo. Healing sounds, vibrations, freedom. Thanks, David. Always a bonus having you in the space. Alex says, he paid extra for this question, so I have to make sure I give him a good answer. All right. Advice on managing stress while working in sales. Using killer influence, just have high targets. And it can be okay, first of all, go back to your basics. First and foremost, control your posture, control your breathing. Remember times in your life when you had the best time selling, like the best customer. Remember the best customers you ever had. Remember what that feeling was like. Notice where in your body you feel it. Turn it into a color, breathe it through your body, assume that posture, assume that breathing pattern, anchor it. If you have identity by design, use the pillars of power technique to magnify and lock those feelings in, and find ways to make your charismatic fun. Gamify it, okay? The more you make a game out of it, the more charismatic you're going to be, and the more you're going to sell, right? Do lots of gray room at the end of every day to clear out your shit, because you're going to be dealing with humans who have all kinds of crap going on, and your job is to get into their energy and make something happen. So you're going to get that schmutz on you. So make sure at the end of every night, not only are you practicing your state control on a regular basis, but you're also clearing out your stuff. That should give you a pretty big boost in both your sales and the amount of time you're enjoying spending at work, which will give you positive stress instead of negative stress, right? When in doubt, spin it out, right? Transformational triad is your friend. Use it. The My Success book, I don't know if you were here when I was talking about the My Success book process. Go back to the beginning of this video when I'm talking about gratitude in my Success book, and start doing that. That'll make a big difference in your ability to control your state. Mike, the hypnotherapist, says, good evening. Good evening, Mike. Let's see, get smart quick at Alex, breathing power pose. Oh, it sounds like a lot of things I just said. Brick T, hey, David, what new stuff excites you? And is there any mystic stuff you don't know yet? Dude, there are lots of mystic things I don't know yet. And Dr. Gilbert is on my radar, big time. He's been on my radar now for about 4 years. So of the stuff I have of his, I really like it. I just haven't gotten to it yet because I got so much other material that I have to go through before I feel like his stuff is going to fit. But I think he's absolutely credible. I know a lot of the sources that he's pulled from. So I think if you resonate with his stuff, especially the biogeometry, I think it's really good stuff. Go with that. Butte Lee says mystery method. That's old school player stuff. Yes, it is. Well as love systems. Cynthia says, hey, David, I'm a college student, cannot afford the advanced stuff. What would you do if you were in my shoes? Make more money. I know that sounds trite, right? When I was, first of all, let me preface this. I did not actually go to college. I didn't walk into a college campus to become a student until I was 33 years old. And so from the time I was in high school, I was working. In fact, when I was in high school, I had 3 jobs. I was the only 19-year-old I know who owned 2 cars. And I thought I was lazy. Find a way to make money. If you want it bad enough, you'll find a way. And that's the one thing that goes back to what I was talking about earlier. And again, I'm not trying to be a dickhead, right? If you want something bad enough, this is something I've always told my martial arts students. I may have said it from here from time to time, and I'll say it again. The greater the want to is, the more the how to takes care of itself. Let me repeat that. The stronger the want to, the more rapidly the how to takes care of itself. If you don't have a lot of money, find a way to make money, right? Hopefully one that's legal, right? But find a way to generate the funds to get access to the training materials that are going to level you up. And remember, for everything you get, especially in Planet David, but in other places too, you're always going to pay twice anyway. The first payment is the money. That's the easy payment, because you can always make more money. You can always make more money, right? But that's not enough. That just gives you, you pony up the money for the seminar or the videotapes or I'm dating myself saying videotapes, or the online course, right? That gives you access to the information. That gives you the right to be in the freaking room, to learn the techniques. That's the first payment. And most people stop there. It's the second payment that's the most important. One of my students, Seth, would say there's 3 payments, but we'll limit it to 2. The first payment is the money you pay to get access to the information. The second payment is time, energy, effort, rolling up your sleeves, going out into the world, doing the drills and getting the skills and getting feedback from the real world and enough repetitions so it becomes second nature to you. That's the second payment. And that's the payment that takes you from interesting information to permanent transformation. It's the one that gives you the ability that will serve you every time you choose to use it. It's a power and a skill and an ability that cannot be taken away from you. Why? Because it's part of you. That's what the second payment does. But most people won't make it because it takes too long, or it's too much money, or it's, how do I know it'll be worth it? Or what if I don't like it after I get it? Anytime you hear those words going through your fucking head, realize what they're really saying. They're telling you don't deserve it. You know what people tell me when people tell me I don't deserve something? Fuck you. So anytime those, trust me, I bought into that language, I bought into that internal dialogue for decades. Right? And it wasn't until I realized what was actually going on. It was my neurology's attempt to keep me the same, because that's what it wants to do. Your neurology doesn't like change. Your neurology wants things to stay the same because that's what's familiar. And from the reptile brain, familiarity equals safety. But that's not what you came here to do. You didn't come here to be safe. You came here to be everything you could be, which means taking risks. It means putting yourself out there. It means doing work that may or may not give you the exact result you were hoping for or expecting. Sometimes it gives you more. Sometimes it gives you things you didn't expect, but it's never wasted. Okay, now you can think I'm bullshitting you. There's no sales pitch connected to this. But if you really, really want the things you say you want, prove it. Prove it. right? Get off your ass, do what it takes, whatever it takes, because you are worth it. You do deserve it, but it's not going to come to you. You got to go after it. And the sooner you do, the faster you get what you want. Let's see here. Lioness of Gaia, James Harkins. Yes, foundational, isn't it? Simple yet profound. Okay, that was another conversation that I was apparently eavesdropping on. Red Violet 182 says, motivation question. What if I don't have the motivation to do the energy methods to find and build the motivation? Chances are it's because you're afraid of something. Chances are it's because there's a belief in you that you don't deserve to have it. So what you're going to have to do is a belief inventory, beliefs you're conscious of and beliefs you're other than conscious of, and start transforming those beliefs. Basic NLP 101 or Planet David 102. Okay. Butte Ween says, flushing red face. Okay, that doesn't help me. Lioness of Gaia, do you have ideas or do ideas have people? Yes. I think they're both, I think they're two aspects of the same coin. Topus, thought forms, egregores. Okay, Alaska, hello. Yay, caught you live. Yes, you did. Is this Yana in Alaska? Okay, I don't know if the eyes look familiar, so I'm just wondering. Let's see here, servitors. Oh, it's my chat box. Let me jump down to the bottom. Let me see how far I got to go. So this reminds me of Audre Lorde's uses of the erotic. Okay, that there's a conversation going on here I'm completely not privy to. David, are you a special advanced soul or just a person who is passionate about his skills? There's nothing special about me. At least I don't think so. I don't think there's a single thing that I do that you can't do, maybe even better. It's just for whatever reason, I came across people who could teach me stuff, and I had the luck, the perceptivity to recognize what it could do and just keep doing it. But I don't think there's a, what is an, I don't know, what is an advanced soul? I still I don't levitate into my pants, so I'm not that advanced yet, but we'll see. I just think, I'm just passionate about what I'm doing. I know it's the right path for me. So I just keep going because it's what feeds my spirit. And it helps a lot of people along the way. So how can that ever be wrong, right? Let's see here. Find a way to be relentless. Michael Cullen. Hey there, my friend. I really enjoyed the Eternal Power seminar. Could you please run over the 10-step energy method? No, that's not for public consumption. But if you come to one of our AMAs, or you left early. Did you know about our early bird sign up for next year, Michael? Were you there for the 1 through 10? Email me separately, and I'll go through the 1 through 10 for you. But it's for you. It's for you guys who are at the seminar. It's not for general consumption. Okay. Let's see here. I have a hard time. Kevin says I have a hard time remembering good things and feelings in my life, so I can get that feeling I should have. Okay. Start small. Start small. You don't need big things. Little things. This is like I started this whole podcast, for lack of a better word, with the idea of what are you grateful for? Those are good things. Those are good feelings. The moment you start looking for it, after a certain number of repetitions, your reticular activating switch system starts to shift, and it starts bringing more things into your awareness to be grateful for. I'm grateful I have fingers that I can use to tie my shoes. I'm grateful I have shoes to tie. It's that simple, right? What are you happy that you have? Right? I'm grateful that people actually like my shirt. I noticed you guys never answered my question about vests, so you kind of avoided that one, right? Let's see here. Get Smart Quick says, the way everyone is feeling sad for Mr. Snyder's daughter singing reminds me of being at sleepover and seeing my friend being punished. Oh, I wasn't punishing her. It's not, see, here's what it is. right? I told the kids when they came over, because they're at my office right now. I said, look, first thing you got to do is homework. And you can listen to your music, but I don't want you singing to the music because it will distract the other person. And so after, every 5 or 10 minutes, they forget. And so I have to go and remind them not to distract the other person. Okay. But don't worry, I didn't punish her. She didn't realize she was singing. Thank you. Hydra says your daughter has nice energy and voice. For me, it was more of a kind of synchronicity than disturbing. Sorry for mistakes. No, don't worry about that. And thank you for that. My daughter actually is quite talented vocally. She got the lead role. Her first audition for her school play, her school musical was Moana, and she got the lead role. Before that, she got a lead role in this theater company called The Story of Mr. Toad and Mr. Frog. And so I encourage her every chance I get. But there are times when it's not the right time to sing, right? So, do you guys think we're living in the Kali Yuga? I'm gonna run the risk of kind of sounding like an asshole here, and say, does it really matter whether we're living in the Kali Yuga or we're not? We're living here, right? So you just deal with whatever celestial or astrological or spiritual influences you deal on a day-to-day basis, because beyond that, it really doesn't matter. You came here at this time to fulfill a certain set of rules and missions and so forth. Whether it's the Kali Yuga or some other epoch, the end of the Mayan, the Mayan calendar was a few years back, but the point is, it really doesn't matter. Because as consciousness shifts, timelines and dimensions shift as well. And so as you raise your consciousness, what you thought was going to be true turns out to be different. It's kind of interesting how that works. So I think, according to I think it's the Vedic calendar, we are in the Kali Yuga, but I don't think it really matters in the scheme of things, right? Maybe if you're Brahma, waking up or going back to sleep or whatever, but to us as an incarnated spirit, incarnated soul, I don't think it really matters. We have missions to fulfill, to get to wax poetic, miles to go before we sleep, or as the case may be, wake up. Right. Liam, I use image cycling for skill acquisition myself. Glad to know I'm not the only one. Excellent. Nathan Vandenbrink says, can you provide cold call tips or tricks? In what context, my friend? So everything work, it's just you don't know how to make them work. Again, Rashad, take it one step at a time and get one piece to work before you go on to the next. Like I tell my students, a lot of people come to me because I make learning hypnotic language really, 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 really easy. But one of the things I tell people once the doors close at the seminar and I'm teaching them hypnosis, I tell them, if you can't get the result in hypnosis using the level of language that you would use with a kindergartner or a third grader, no amount of hypnotic language is going to help you. Okay? Because the act of hypnotizing or generating attraction or whatever state you want in another human being is an act of intention. After that, it's calibration. After calibration, is tactical deployment of your language, whatever language skills are appropriate. So the same thing I'm telling you is every single thing that you've been taught, Rashad, works. It's worked thousands, tens of thousands of times with millions of people all over the world. There are millions of people who've watched these videos and have reported back that this shit works like gangbusters. It's not the technique. It's probably the way you're applying it. So my advice to you is very, very simple. Do smaller things. Do small, measurable, manageable chunks and calibrate if it's working. But have an accurate way to measure. If you can measure it, you can manage it, right? But again, make it fun. I have one of my advanced students, his name is Mandar. He came to me, I taught him the echo technique. He spent 12 months challenging me and questioning me. Does this really work? Does this really work? Even though he was out using it all the time and it was working. And every mastermind, he would come back to me and say, does that really work? Does it really work? I said, well, what did you just, and after about 12 months of realizing every time he used it, it worked. He started this, it became a natural part of his vocabulary. He just started using it everywhere he went. And then from there, he could build on it. Now, you don't necessarily need to take 12 months to master something if you chunk it down small enough and you make it fun and you do enough repetitions. But my point is that the techniques work if you work the techniques. But a lot of times people get too ambitious. They want to go too far, too fast. So take your time, have fun, right? Some people don't even get to the words. They have to go back to positive eye contact, right? Before they learn to say hi, before they learn to ask a question, before they can echo. Chunk it down, right? And what you'll notice, and overlearn each of the steps. It's going to give you a bigger bang for your buck in the shortest amount of time possible. One of my more controversial by proxy Qigong instructors used to say, masters are made in the beginning. And I was like, that's pretty cool. People see that and they say, what does that actually mean? It means overlearning the basics, the fundamentals, the things that make the difference, controlling your state, getting rapport, knowing what you want, how you calibrate what you want, using the language skills that you're good at, and then adding other things as you get better and better. Okay. Let's see here. Let's see. I'm trying to skate up here to where I missed stuff before. Oki's asking, before this AMA is over, can we do some healing techniques guided together? I don't know that we'll have time to do that, Oki. But what I'm thinking about doing is starting like a meditation series where like once a week or a couple times a month, I come online and we do some guided meditation work or clearing work together. For those of you who want to do some of that work. I haven't decided if and when I'm going to do that yet, but if I do, you guys will be the first to know. Man, you guys got a lot of questions. Hold on a second. Let's see how many people are actually in this chat room. 85. Okay. Okay. Oops, that didn't work. Hold on. Okay. Sorry about that, guys. I think I lost my chat. Oops, I think I lost my chat. Wait on a second. Hold on a second. Oh, there they are. Okay. I clicked the wrong button and wound up leaving the window with all the chat functions on it. Does my 7 needs diagram include that? Adam, what are you which 7 needs diagram are you talking about? Let's see here. Hold on, I'm still trying to get to the. Let's see here. Don't mind me. I'm trying to answer everybody's questions, so I'm kind of skipping around. Let's see here. One should never have to apologize for singing from their heart. That's probably true, unless you're in a library or a place that's needs absolute silence, or a sound alarm where you might get arrested. Wait, my reticular activating system is coming with all the places where it might not be, you might need to apologize for singing. Let's see here. Okay, David, in one sentence, please define state control. How about 3 sentences? State control, as we define it in Planet David, is the ability to enter or exit any emotional state on demand at will at any time you need to or want to. Boom. That's what it is. Let's see here. Hagerstown Hypnosis. Hey, Marie, good to see you again. Point to where you feel it or imagine good things. Sometimes they're not mutually exclusive, by the way. The door 117, David, because of you, I took over a group of 3 girls at a party. It was awesome. My question is, what to do when guys try to hijack the conversation like they were trying to do? Okay, first and foremost, befriend the obstacle, right? Just, treat them like part of the group, right? You can also smurf them. That's usually, I think one of the people was saying either, smurf them or do other things. Be very careful how you come across to the person when you're trying to deal with that. If they're trying to amog you, then by all means reframe the living daylights out of it, right? Reframing is probably going to be your best tool. So I would look at the renegade reframing patterns for that. Let's see here. You can always bust on them and just bust their balls until they leave or take a swing at you and show how much of a dick they are. Anyway, I don't recommend you do that though. It's politically not politically correct. Let's see here. Adam Lee says, is there a way to practice directing questions towards an intended outcome with an interlocutor? I think so. It's just now you have to manage 2 psyches instead of 1. So as long as you can have access to the, like if you're gonna when you say something like this, I'm thinking like a translator situation. Like you're here, the translator's here, the other person's here, right? If the person can understand and overhear you, then you can start to position their mind by talking to the interpreter. But now you have to think about, okay, how do I need to phrase things? Because how is this guy going to phrase it to the other person? So it's really the same process. It's just you got to add an extra link in the chain, right? I've never really had. You'd have to give me, Adam. You'd have to give me more of a context. Like, is this it's like a mediation situation? Is this a by proxy situation? Is this like an interpreter type situation? The more I know, the better an answer I can give you. Crazy with Sandy. Hey, I'm new to all this. Do you have a website or is all this stuff on YouTube? I've seen a few videos, very interested. We have actually a great website. We actually have 2 right now that will be consolidated into 1 within the next 12 months. One is www.nlppower.com. And the other is www.davidsnydernlp.com. And we have a lot of content available and products as well on those websites. We have over 300 videos on this channel and probably another 200-300 that we haven't released yet, because we just keep creating content. So I hope that helps. While I'm on the subject, would you guys be willing to help me out with something? If you'd be willing to help me out, type yes in the chat, and I'll talk to you about it. I'm waiting for you guys to answer in the chat. I know there's a delay from Zoom. Scion Cymatic says, David, just joined. Welcome, my friend. So Get Smart says, yes, I'm listening. Absolutely. Oh, cool. All right. So here's the deal. You guys know that every year, globalgurus.org names their top 30 gurus in body language and NLP and coaching. You guys know about that, right? Yes? Anyway, it's that time of year again. So if you guys are really enjoying the channel, the content we create, I would really be thrilled if you could go to www.globalgurus.org and vote for me for the #1 NLP Guru of the Year. If you guys want, I can show you how to get there. Let me share my screen really quick. You're going to have infinity screen for a minute, but So all you got to do is go to www.globalgurus.org. Can you guys see this okay? I'm not gonna stay here very long, but I want everybody to see this so they know what's going on. And so all you got to do, oops, what's happening here, is you go up to vote here, where it says NLP, and then you got to log in to vote, and then you'll see a checklist of all the. It'll take you to a list of all the people you can vote for. If you could just throw your vote my way, I'd really appreciate it. I'll throw this in the chat for you guys. Let me get out of the screen here. That would really help me out. We've been very lucky to be recognized by people all around the world as some of the leaders in transformational work. And a lot of that is because of the amazing people in Planet David, people like you. I just want to continue to share that and let more people know. So if you, actually, that's not what I want. Hold on a second. I got to get out of this and go back to this. That's the meeting chat, but I need, here you go. Here's the URL if you want it. I'll go back to answering questions in a moment. Let's see here. Liam says, honestly, I don't think anyone here wouldn't want to help. Well, you know what? Some people have their favorites, and I want to help as many people as possible. And this thing with Global Gurus seems to help me reach a lot of people. And it gives me a lot of street cred so that people who might not normally listen will actually pay attention. So every little bit helps. Like I said, normally I'd be asking you to like and share these videos. I still haven't gotten the whole YouTube social media like share thing down yet. Maybe someday I'll get all that tech down, but right now I'm just trying to get my message out and help you as much as possible. So Get Smart says you can ditch the vest for Scorpio seasons and rebirth reasons like new. Okay. King Titan says, David! Okay. Get smart quick. Before you accept my offer, let's talk or do gold. Oh, I think you're off talking to somebody else. My relation plays so cute. You'll miss those days with your daughter or something. Absolutely, I already miss it. I don't know if you were on at the beginning of the cast. I had some things come up today that really rocked my world emotionally. Things that were practically life-threatening. I won't go into the dynamics of it, but it was that 24-hour period that made me start looking at the life I have from a very different perspective, and why I became focused on gratitude, because it becomes so easy to lose perspective on all the good things that you have, all the amazing things that are in your life right now that you just take for granted. And one of those things was my children. You look at them and you realize that they'll never be this age again. This is the part you get to remember. And why aren't you present when they are? Because I think, especially after COVID, being so preoccupied with all the virtual crap, it was real easy for us to be in the same room with the people we supposedly love more than anything, and just not be present. And I think that's a challenge for us now, because we have to be in the moment and really take in and digest and absorb every good thing. And again, I'm maybe it's because of the shit I went through in the past week. I'm waxing melancholic or sentimental or whatever, but I think it's really important to really go back and look at your life and what's good in it. What could be better, but focus on all the good things for a while and really appreciate them, and then turn around and look at how you can make it better. But I think that looking back part is really important, because if your eyes are always on the horizon, the view seldom changes. And sometimes we don't really stop to appreciate how far we've come until we look back. And in that process of looking back and realizing the progress we've made, whether it was in the direction we expected or not, it reignites our motivation to keep moving forward. And I've been giving this advice to my students for almost 20 years now, and I just got hit in the face with it. You know, so again, I'm gonna get off my pedestal. I'm going back to answering questions, but I just had a very different day with my kids because of it, and I'm really, really grateful for that. I'm not happy that the experience I had happened because it sucked, but it really did shake a few things loose for me. And so I want to share that with you while it's still fresh, because at some point I'm sure I'll get jaded again and lose perspective. Anyway, let's see here. I'm just skipping up. Rishav is gone. Creative. I still don't understand the Audrey Lorde comment. Creative. Let's see. Ivy Bolt says, "Hey David, I gotta say, Lao Tzu and his Taoism sounds so similar, like Hermetic philosophy or thought. They're the same thing. Every system that works can be distilled down to the same core principles, the same core skill sets. In fact, that's one of the things I'm doing now with my high level, like elite coaching students, is I'm actually showing them the core requisite energetic manipulation skill sets, which are sound, light, thought forms, energetic condensation and dissipation, and advanced perceptual training. Those are the things that, regardless of what system you're training or you want to study, those are your core skill sets. If you don't have a solid foundation or solid handle in those, then you're not going to do much. You're not going to do a lot with any technique. So, to me, it's all the same, and that's one of the things you'll discover when you actually get behind the closed doors. When you penetrate the exoteric to the esoteric, to the inner world, the inner teachings, you're going to find the same structure to the training, from Christian mysticism to Kabbalah, to Taoism, to Buddhist mysticism, to the Vedic systems. The structures and the processes are the same. They just use different words and names to describe it. So I hope that helps. Michael says, no worries, cool. Get Smart says, I used to mimic cock blockers until they look awkward and leave or do Mr. Snyder's smurfing. Yeah, okay. Use the erotic. Uses of the erotic is an essay about living life full out. It is for women, but men can also resonate with the spirit of the message. Guys, if you really, no pun intended, if you really want to get inside the heads and beds of more women, you need to study how women write about eroticism, especially romance. Because if you understand that mindset, then you know the kind of person you need to become attractive to the vast majority of women. Now, it's not manly to read romance novels, but trust me, if you want to learn how women think, if you want to learn what keeps them up till all hours of the morning fantasizing, read romance novels. So this one that Creative is talking about, I think, is a great one to start. Another one that would be really useful is called Dangerous Men, Adventurous Women. And it's a series of essays written by romance writers. And so once you understand that aspect of it, you can begin to modify your external appearance, your behaviors, your lifestyle to be more in alignment with the archetype that they're searching for. And there are many different variations on that archetype. So you can find one that is close to you. Bahram Ha says, hi, sir, I have one question. My friend has optic atrophy in his eyes, and this can't be cured as nerve cells are damaged. Is there any way he can use hypnosis or other alternatives? Yes, absolutely. Hypnosis, certain forms of Chinese energetic medicine can go a long way in helping to bring some of that function. I can't say it'll bring all of it back, but it can absolutely affect it for sure. I just can't predict to what degree over what period of time. Oh, Hydrant says, I hopped over the answers about the vest. Could you repost them? So the question was, you guys know I've been doing my trademark vest for 45 years now. Actually, most of over 10 years. And I'm kind of running out of cool styles. And I'm getting kind of bored with the ones I have. So do you think I just need to find more cool vests, or should I just find something else, like blazers or leopard skin shirts or something like that? Okay. Post your comments in the chat. Let me know. Territory. Let's see here. Let's scroll all the way down and work our way back up. Oh wait, we have a blue one. Hold on a second. Mr. Snuffleupagus, any good resources for subliminal messaging? In what context do you want to do subliminal messaging? Do you want to use subliminal audio? Do you want to make like subliminal audio recordings? Are you looking to embed subliminal images in websites, in printed materials? Are you looking for software that flashes words on your screen at a subliminal speed? The question is really kind of vague. So if you can re-ask the question, I might be able to give you a better answer. There was a software I used many, many years ago called Subliminal Messenger. There's probably a version of it still out there somewhere, but I'm sure there's apps now that will actually do it better. Wardom MTS says, yes, we voted for you last year too. Thank you, my friend. Adam Lee says, no, I didn't know this. Okay. Stefan User, are fun and fear opposites, and recommendations on having certainty even though it is elusive to me? Start with relentlessness. Relentlessness that I've discovered kind of forms the foundation. Actually, what I've discovered about fun and fear is that they're not opposites, they're complements. Pleasure and fear, at least in the female physiology, seem to be opposites. So it's hard to be afraid and feel pleasure at the same time. And I came across that discovery when I was studying female orgasm and the psychobiology of it. When women have orgasms, their fear centers shut off. So, and pain centers as well. So that's probably a good direction to start looking at, finding ways to make things fun or pleasurable. So you might be lumping pleasure in with fun. I'm not making that distinction. Let's see here. Scion Semantics says, question, what are your thoughts on Reiki energetic techniques with NLP to deal with others who have malevolent beings in their field? Give your views. Well, most people's training in Reiki doesn't encompass dealing with entities. So if you're going to use Reiki to deal with entities, you're going to need something Reiki plus. We have techniques in our systems for dealing with entities, some of which are NLP based. So I think if you're gonna do that kind of work and you're gonna work with entities, then you need something more than a basic Reiki 1, 2, or 3. You need deeper level esoteric training and exorcism training. That's just my thoughts on it. Oh, looks like Grandpa's here. Warda, you mentioned that each of the body's organs also has positive emotion with it for healing. Can you please let us know the positive emotions deal with 5 major organs? Yes. Love, unconditional love for the heart. Liver is human kindness and compassion. Kindness is the highest virtue. Spleen is integrity and honesty. The kidneys is wisdom. So that's all 5, I believe, right? There are other emotions, there are other positive emotions associated with those organs as well, but in Taoist virtue healing, those are the 5. In Taoist are not Confucian virtue healing. The spleen is actually what they call learned instinct, right? Which is, again, they're not really clear on what that actually is. But it's falling back on what you know, right? But in the Taoist system, it's integrity, I believe, is what is associated with the spleen. So hopefully that helps. Let's see here. Rebecca says, I've learned from another teacher the 1 through 10 and other energetic practices you mentioned today. How do I learn about future seminars and classes where you teach similar concepts and practices? Sign up for our newsletter. Go to www.davidsnydernlp.com or www.nlppower.com and get on our mailing list. And when we have events coming up, we will post them both on the events pages of both of those websites, as well as sending out email blasts about upcoming events and things of that nature. Let's see here. Lawrence Liberty says, can I leave a link down below? Lawrence, what do you want to link to? Do you want to link to the Global Gurus page, to my website? What is it you actually want me to leave a link to? Get Smart says, don't be a YouTuber, just be a great hypnotist on YouTube. That's kind of how I started, right? Cynthia says, have a wonderful night, David, and everyone, many blessings. Hydrant says, I voted exceptional because it seemed higher than good. Very good. But thank you. Thank you very much. Wow, thank you for what you do. Okay, you're very welcome. Modern day Sparta. David, that is so true. When you're climbing mountains, the summit is so far away that the only way to measure progress is by looking back. Thank you. Excellent. Excellent metaphor. Thank you for that. Zuru Hollow says, is photographic memory attainable through intellectual training? No. As far as photographic memory is concerned, you either have it when you come in or you develop it as a physical skill. You have to combine your intellect with your physicality to develop what they call photo reading or things of that nature. Can it be enhanced through intellectual training? If by intellectual training you mean NLP, holographic memory resolution, or hypnosis, yes, 100%. 100%. Hope all is well. Zero. Okay, we're coming into the home stretch. Okay, Sion, I think you keep asking me the same question and I answered it. You asked me about Reiki and NLP, and I gave you a very in-depth answer on that one. So I hope go back and watch the review, the video. You'll hear me answer it. That pizza lesbian 69. All right. Why are the Hebrew letters of the Tetragrammaton behind you modified? What are those additional lines? The Tetragrammaton behind me is the letter combination for the month of Scorpio, the astrological sign of Scorpio. And the other two letters, the Daled Nun, I believe, are the letters that balance the energy and make the correction for this month. So if you meditate on these letters and allow the energy of the divine to flow through them into you, it will balance out your energies with the energies of the month. I find a lot of times when things are going wrong, Mercury's in retrograde, this particular set of meditations for whatever astrological sign that you're in really quickly rebalances your energy and reactivates your luck. So, and so every month, because people are always asking me about it, I just decided to start using them as screensavers because it keeps it in my mind. So I'm always in harmony with that energy, but also people can learn it. So hope that answers your question. Okay. Question, do you do any NLP certifications? Yes, Florence, I do. In fact, I have one starting next week. I've got an 8-day NLP Ultra certification, which is a combination of the NLP curriculum combined with the mind control and behavioral analysis techniques I learned from Chase, as well as my killer influence trainings and things of that nature. It's my unique integration of behavioral modification with classic core skills of NLP taught in a very powerful, user-friendly, and fun format. We're even going to teach face reading because that's part of the calibration skills now. So if you guys want to know about that or get in at that, we have a few seats left. Just go to davidsnydernlp.com and go to the event section, you'll find the NLP training. It's going to be here in San Diego, November 9th through the 15th, I believe it is. I think it's the 9th through the 15th. Lundo Bella says, I got work in the morning, so I'm about, but gave me everything I needed. Cool. Have a good night, my friend. Bye. Okay. That pizza says, oh, damn, that's cool. Is that image available for download somewhere? You could try the KabbalahCenter.org. That's the only place I know that puts out images like this. And they're usually part of their website graphics. So keep in mind, it's probably copywritten, but I'm telling you where I got it. So Florence says, how often do you do these trainings, and are there financial payments? Yes, there are payment plans. I teach NLP one time a year because I believe that there are other skills that are more important than NLP. And by the time you get to the NLP, it's actually mostly review and just extra skills that were superfluous to the other trainings. My recommendation is you become an awesome hypnotist, either through Killer Influence or Identity by Design, and then work your way into the NLP class. But because this is an 8-day training, we decided to waive any prerequisites. So if people want to get in, I know it's last minute, you can reach out to Stephanie at 858-282-4663, and she'll tell you everything you need to know to get into the class. Florence says, your work has assisted me so much lately, forever grateful for you. Thank you so much. That's very kind. And I'm glad. You know, it's hearing back from all of you that really keep me going a lot of times, you know, because it's a grind sometimes to do these things and to do the research and the training and the testing and everything else. But when I see from you, when I hear from you guys and gals, how what we do has changed your life, how it's put your life and given you more control and taken the randomness out, I realize that this is what I was meant to do. And I'm going to keep doing it as long as the universe will let me, or until they come drag me off with a net, one of the two. Right? With the censor police out there, you never quite know. Right? Anyway, we're coming into the home stretch. I want to thank you all so much for letting me spend some time with you to kind of reconnect. If you like the content, please share the content, and share the videos. Please go to our web, go to globalgurus.org and cast your vote for your favorite NLP trainer. If that's me, great. If it's not, no, I'll cry, but it's okay. What's the best way to find purpose in life? I'll sum it up in a very, very simple sentence. Do the things that make your heart sing. Because by and large, when you follow when you follow your joy, when you follow your passions, the universe conspires to put you on the shortest path to becoming the person you are destined to be, who can do the things that they were destined to do. We call that in Taoist mysticism, we call that Ming, or the golden path. We have classes for that if you want to learn more of it. It's based on face reading. But that's in a nutshell, that's pretty much how you do it. Doesn't mean your life will be easy. Doesn't mean there won't be people trying indication of where you need to go. Right? Subliminal audio. Most people I know use Audacity or some other. I don't really have a good subliminal audio software that I can recommend. But anyway, for those of you who want to know about upcoming classes, who want to do the whole purpose thing like Emilio was talking about, I think it was Emilio. Yeah, get on our subscriber list. We have a class called Golden Path. It's a small class, and I basically audit your entire life, and I look at all the things that pulled your spirit into your body, the things you're good at, the jobs you love, the things you like about those jobs, and we create for you a profile that indicates what your life path might be. Remember that the golden path, your purpose in life, isn't necessarily about a job. It's about a lifestyle, a life direction that could encompass any number of jobs. But the one thing I can tell you from the bottom of my heart to the deepest level of my soul is that when you are on that path, and you're all on it to some degree, especially if you're in Planet Beta, especially if you're here. One thing I can tell you, regardless of what you think about your life, nothing, no mistake you've made, no class you've taken, no book you've read, no show you've watched, no betrayal you've suffered is worthless. Everything has a purpose. Everything is designed to give you or teach you something that you couldn't have learned any other way. And that's the beauty of understanding that. Nothing in your life is wasted, even if you think it is. At some point on your path, those things that you thought were irrelevant, that were a waste of your time, won't be. It may not be in the way you thought, but it'll come up. So Glingo says, I already vote for you. Thank you, Glenn. Thank you, Elaine. I hope my necklace shows up too. If it was meant to happen, if that was part of the price I had to pay for getting through what I got through today, it's a price well paid. All right. If it comes back, it's mine to keep. Hey, David, are you done reincarnating? Mystic tend to want to end the cycle. I don't think I'm done reincarnating. I've certainly been given access to the technologies that if I applied them and devoted all of my waking existence in this life to it, I might be able to jet. But I'm not in a rush, because based on the teachings that I've been given access to, it's just become, as you get higher and higher up the grade, you become more and more to serve the people that are still down here, right? And so I think wherever I am is where I'm supposed to be, you know. Certainly with the Buddhist mysticism training that I've gotten, and I'm getting, within 3 years I'll be a certified Buddhist Lama. I'll be actually certified to teach Buddhism. I do have a Merkaba. You're right. I studied that many years ago under Drunga Lama Kizare. So, but it's all the same. It's all the same. There are many different forms of immortality. And reincarnation is absolutely one of them. I haven't decided which direction I want to go yet, but it's nice to have a choice, right? But like I said, if I get through it in this lifetime and I get bumped up to the next level, cool. If I come back for a remedial class on being a human being, well, okay, I'm okay with that too. Anyway, the words of the immortal Carol Burnett. I'm so glad we had this time together, just to have a laugh or sing a song. Seems we just got started, and before you know it, comes the time we have to say so long. Good night, my friends. God bless. We will see you very soon. Go click those links, get in our newsletter, vote for Global Gurus, get to some trainings, and let's hang. Let's get together.